This is the FinesseMedia Podcast, Season 3.
Iridescent, just trying to make it festive as much as possible.
Keep it in glam. No, that's
and I got my spicy shirt too, but we'll get to that later.
That's what's up. That's what's up. No, listen, this is what we're doing. Welcome back to another episode of FinesseMedia Podcast, Season 3. I'm your host, Ken FinesseMedia, and I'm back. And just like I mentioned before the break, we got a great guest on this week. Another finesser, somebody that's finessing the game, that's been doing it for so many years, right? Yes, but coming to the podcast for the first time on the FinesseMedia Season 3. Make some noise for Yazmin Ramos. What's up, lady? And also, look, Emmy Nominated producer Yazmin Ramos. What's up, lady?
Thank you.
How you doing, Queens? Good to have you.
Yes, and I'm so happy to be on your show. Thank you for that awesome introduction. I am doing well. Thank you, Jesus. Taking it day by day, balancing this working from home life and my personal life and trying to make sure that they don't kind of intertwine. So, it's just been, day by day.
Day by day. No, but you hustling and moving, and you're right. You got your shirt on. God always come through. I'm wearing my shirt.
You sure are. You sure are. Be humble, but know your worth, because I feel like a lot of times as Christians, we're so kind, and sometimes there are some people that like to take advantage of our kindness. And I think it's really easily as a Christian, to be humble and sometimes forget your worth. So that shirt you're wearing is a reminder to know your worth.
No.
And what I got on is new to the Spicy Christians collection, and it's God Always Comes Through. And this is just because at the end of the day, no matter what you're going through, God always comes through. And it's 90s inspired because I love the show Martin. So
no, for sure. It's like our version from the 90s. I love Martin too, but it's like our version of when we say, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, right?
Yes,
so that's what the old people say. Old people say, but that's the old school term. So God always come through, definitely. And thank you again, Yaz, for coming through. So many people who had saw this was like, yo, you having Yaz on, yo, Yaz. And listen, you a vibe out here doing your thing.
Oh my God, that makes me feel so good, because sometimes, being an entrepreneur and starting a small business, which we put so much work into it that you don't really realize sometimes like the impact that you're making, so to hear that you're saying that all these people were excited about me being on, it really makes me feel like, wow, like I'm out here. Okay, people are noticing, because, sometimes I feel like, do they see me? Are people really feeling this? Like, is it resonating? So it just feels good to know that I got a following.
Oh, definitely. You but for people who just tuned in and just welcome to the party. But Yazmin, you've been doing your thing. You're from the Bronx, New York.
Yes.
So you hear that accent,
Uptown,
y'all.
baby.
You hear it. How is that? So I'm from Chicago, so I'm another, Chicagoan and a city guy. But how is it? How was it for you growing up in the Bronx? How was that for you?
Well, first of all, I give credit to me being from the Bronx, because it made me who I am, because I'm street smart and also book smart, and just so grateful for the fact that, you can't pull anything over me for the most part. Like, I just see things from a mile away. So I give that to my Bronx culture, that raised me, and I love the Bronx. I feel like there's so much diversity here. There's so much culture. My parents, had me here in the Bronx. In fact, I live in a neighborhood not too far from the building where they moved when they had me. So the Bronx has just always been close to my heart. Like, I've lived in other places, but I just love the Bronx. Like, nothing comes to the Bronx to me. And I think it's just because most of my childhood was spent here. So it's very nostalgic for me sometimes walking down certain areas of the Bronx that I can realize I can see myself, back in the day, like walking the streets when I was like 8 years old or maybe even younger. So the Bronx made me who I am, and Cardi's from the Bronx. So
no, the Bronx is hot. No,
Big Pun's from the Bronx, Fat Joe's from the Bronx, right? Like, that could go on and on. So
no, you definitely got some spicy people from the Bronx. So like you said, Jenny from the Bronx, right? It's Jenny from the Bronx. She from the Bronx, spicy, and then keeping it on spicy. I guess that's a good segue. Spicy Christians. This is the shirt, like I say, you're wearing. I'm wearing this brand, Spicy Christians. This is when I noticed. So we're going to talk about you being the producer for the Wendy Williams Show for so long, but what you really, caught my eye in doing this Spicy Christians and this line of work that you're doing. So talk to me and my listeners about Spicy Christians. When did you get started with that brand?
Okay, so Spicy Christians, in fact, that's such a great question because we are celebrating our year anniversary next week. So October 19th will be the official day, anniversary day for Spicy Christians because I launched last year that same day. So I am so grateful to see like how it's evolved, and it's definitely exceeded my expectations in so many ways. I started Spicy Christians because I have always been a big church goer. I haven't been to church in a while, but back in the day, which was probably, I say back in the day like it was so long ago, like maybe 2 years ago. Like,
we've been in this corona.
But church really developed my relationship with God. It really helped me build a relationship with God, and it helped me spiritually. And so I just felt like sometimes at the church that I was going to, I didn't really fit in per se. Like I got along well with everybody, but I just felt like there were certain parts of me that I had to hide, and like I couldn't wear things that I wanted to wear. Like I felt like there was always a prayer cloth coming my way. No shade, but I would wear something that would like, be up to my knees. I felt was conservative because I know like boundaries. And then I feel like, sometimes when I would have like the prayer cloth like come over my knees, I would just feel a certain kind of way. And I felt like, what if there was somebody that has not been to church in a long time and just is going to church, and that happens, that may discourage them from wanting to go again. And that might even like, ruin their relationship with God. I don't know, who knows, it's so fragile when people are building their relationship with the Lord that you just want to make sure that you are careful, and you need to feel welcome. And so I wanted to create like a demographic and a platform for believers that are like me, edgy, we may wear, something that people may not feel is like Christian, like, or we may want to go to the club, people may want to twerk, maybe want to, have a little drink here and there, right, but like in moderation. But at the same time, we still love God. There are a lot of us that still love God, and we shouldn't be judged for our lifestyles, because when you praise the Lord, we're all a work in progress. So I figured, why not call it Spicy and then Christians?
Mm-hmm. and it's such a wonderful brand, yes. And you do it by yourself, or the team of people that you do it with. Who are the folks that help you if you're not doing it by yourself?
So for the most part, I have to give credit to my family because I can always depend on them when I'm having like one of my events, because I just started doing like some pop-up events out there in like the streets, like when they're having like festivals or Black Expo events. So that's been great. So I have to give a shout out to this woman that I actually met recently, maybe like a month ago. Her name is Shakira, and shout out to her because she found me on the gram, and we never we didn't know each other, we never met or anything like that. And she just, I guess, gravitated to my page. And when I posted about me coming to Jersey for a pop-up event, she hit me up and was like, oh, I want to come and, see you and support. I was like, all right, cool. So I just figured she just want to, come through so we can meet in person and that be it. But homegirl was ready to work. Okay. Whoa. She had her shirt on from Spicy Christians, and she was like, what do you need? And I was just like, oh my God, like glory to God, because he sent you, specifically for this assignment to help me with my business and grow it, here in the streets, and get it to the people and interact with my consumers. So I'm just so thankful that you have the same kind of energy that I have, and you really want to be a part of this. So shout out to her, because she's definitely Team Spicy Christians. And, every day for the most part, it's 90% me, but I have to give a shout out to the people that have helped me as well.
No, definitely. Yes, I see you out there, and it's definitely what's up for.
And my models too. Sorry. Want to talk to my models, Henry, my boyfriend Abdul, Phyllis.
You recently had a photo shoot that was hot.
Yeah. So my models and my photographer, John, like it's a team effort.
No, like what you were saying, the girl who came and helped, from the Instagram. People feel that vibe, yes, and that's what you were saying, kind of, top of the episode, where you feel this vibe, and that's real. Energy can be felt, so even through virtual, the space that we're living in, but really, attitude is definitely, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's real. So definitely. Like I said, I found the page and I said, Jazz is doing her thing. I need to not only support.
That means so much.
I wanted to have you on season 2, man. I had Derek on, and I said to him, man, I wanted to have Yaz on last season, really, but and he as well, because you two,
I love Derek.
Folks are finessing the game. Yeah, definitely. You folks are doing things behind the scenes with big platforms. So Wendy Williams,
he's at The View.
You're right. He's at The View, and you're at Wendy Williams, executive producer. So let's talk about that. And how long have you been doing that with Wendy Williams? Let's talk about that role.
So I'm a senior producer at Wendy, and I started at Wendy as a PA, which was almost like a demotion for me because prior to working at Wendy, I was working at BET. And I was working at BET as an associate producer for a show called The Black Carpet. And that show got canceled. And when it was canceled, it was like my first job straight out of college in production. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Like, I'm literally like in my career right now. I was 23. So I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? It was so good. It was so dope. And I really enjoy working at BET. BET really crafted me to be the person that I am right now. It grew me in so many ways. I learned so much at BET, and I became a strong producer because of BET. And I say that because I interview a lot of celebrities, and as doing interviews, the more you do it, the more better you become at it. And so it was so great to be out there at red carpet events and, even like fly out to certain places to cover a few events. Like I've done Sundance, I did a few award shows, and just be out there and meet celebrities. Like it was just like, wow, like I never envisioned that for my life. Like I did not think that I would be amongst A-listers, but that's what God's plan was for me. And I was so young, and they called me Red Carpet Ramos because I was hitting up every single carpet. And I was just so happy that, I was just so nice at it that people actually, created a name for me, Red Carpet Ramos. And so that was just so good. And I took all that experience and all those skills that I gained from there to the Wendy show. And so being at Wendy, again, I started as a PA, and then I just worked my way up. So I went from PA to associate producer to senior producer now. And here we are 12 years later, and I'm still kicking butt. Kicking ass, kicking butt, and just like, doing my thing, and just so thankful for, God and for blessing me with creativity, because I really believe that's what seriously separates me from the rest. And that's my creativity. And I give that credit to God, because I believe that he helps us with our like imagination and just like, manifestation. So, yeah.
No, absolutely. And so being in college, did you ever think that, hey, me, Yazmin Ramos, will have an Emmy, be an Emmy nominated producer? Where were you when you got that call that you were nominated? Because I had Morel on too last season.
And no one has ever asked me that. And I love this. Thank you. No one has ever asked me where I was. And I love this question because I was in a great place.
All right.
So yes, I've always wanted to be an Emmy nominated producer. Like I wanted to just have an Emmy nomination. And I like that you can attach it to your title. So that was just something that I really wanted to gain. And being at Wendy, because I started as a PA, we're not like a part of the list when we're nominated, PAs and APs, depending on the show. So if the show is nominated or wins the Emmy, you win it, by default because of the show, but there's not something that you would gain like independently. So it doesn't happen independently until you become like a producer. So when you're a producer, that's when you're singled out. And then that's when you're like Emmy nominated producer, Emmy award winning producer. So it's mostly for producers and up. So when I got my promotion to producer, it happened to be I think like the third year that we were nominated. So I missed the other nominations, but the third year that we were nominated, that's when my name made it to the list. And so I didn't know that I had made it to the list. I didn't even know that we were nominated for an Emmy. But a friend of mine texted me, and I was in Hawaii. And I was in Hawaii on vacation with my friend, Alika, who lives out there. And we were at this restaurant, and they had some really good eggs Benedict with avocado. It was delicious. And so
look, I'm a foodie, Jazz. Wait,
right? So I was like so happy and like cloud nine for this amazing meal that I was having. And then to like, you know, add to that, I get this text message and it was like, congratulations, you're an Emmy nominated producer. And I was like, what? And I looked and I Googled like the Emmy nominees and I saw like my name like on the website and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I felt like, wow, God, this is big.
This is it.
Thank you, Lord. Like, I don't even care if I don't win. Like, I don't even care if we don't win or whatever, just to be Emmy nominated. And then when you are Emmy nominated, they send you a certificate. So I got to like frame it and put it up on my wall. And I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's me, yo. Like, I did that. Like,
that's what's up.
Wow.
Where is it at? Is it somewhere I can see it? Is it somewhere we can see it?
Like, that's God.
Is it somewhere we can see it?
I'll give it to you. Give me 1 second. Can I bring it to you?
Yeah, you can bring it to me. We'll keep talking. Yeah. We'll keep talking. Yazmin about to bring for our...
I don't want to mess up my lighting.
You can see us, the Emmy certificate. But doing your thing, that's what I say. Keep finessing the game for people who's listening because you never know. You know, you could be in the college room, you could be in the dormitory, and boom, you could be at right there. Emmy that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Wow, nobody has ever seen this. This is an exclusive, y'all.
That's what's up. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for showing. Thank you for showing. Yeah. So, like I say, doing your thing as an Emmy producer and having that and being at Wendy. So, what's that moment? I know the Emmy is a big moment, but has there been a moment in your career yet? But again, no journey's on. Has there been a moment yet in your career where you felt that, wow, this is the moment where I'm working towards this dream or towards this goal, and it has manifested itself?
Yeah. There's been a lot of those moments, and thank God for that because some people can't say that. So I'm very grateful that I have a lot of those moments. And another moment would just be being on tour with Wendy. Like, that was a big deal for me. Like, I was on tour with her in 2018, and we toured 10 cities. And we went to places that I had never been to before, including Chicago. That was my first time going to Chicago and seeing the bees.
Was it?
And I was
okay,
just like
was it
so
in
hyped.
The weather? I was gonna say, was it in the warm season? You know,
it was summertime, so
okay,
it was good weather.
Good weather.
Yep, it was summertime, and so being on tour with Wendy and being the only producer on that tour, and producing Ask Wendy, which is like one of the biggest parts of the show, that I was able to be the person that evolved Ask Wendy. And I will tell you that straight up, like, it was my spice that I add to Ask Wendy that made it what it is like now, and now everyone just follows suit. But you know, the thing about Ask Wendy, I credit me being from the Bronx for Ask Wendy, because I've always been to like bonchi, like chimosa, like that's like gossip, you know, like so I've always been into that. So I've always knew people's business because people always told me their business, you know. And so Ask Wendy pretty much is like my everyday life, and talking to people is just what I do, and I'm so good with people, and I, you know, love people. Like, I'm a people person, so I make people feel comfortable to like want to tell me all their business, you know. And I know that Wendy loves the juice, so I was like, all right, girl, we could work on this together because I love it too. So let's do this, you know what I mean? Like, and I understood what she liked. So whenever I would get like, you know, go through my line of people with questions, I became so good at it that I could just hear you and know if you're good for camera or not by like 5 seconds. I know, like, if I want to use you or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna give me what I need, or are you just gonna be like, like, fall flat on the camera? Because if you fall flat on camera, you're not a good look for me. So I can't use you. You know?
For sure.
You being dope on camera is a reflection of me. So that's what I need, you know?
Right, matching that energy.
So being on the tour, you know, when the EP asked me to go on the show, to be a part of it, I was just so honored and so grateful that he thought of me. But that's just because of, you know, my experience. It spoke for itself. My work spoke for itself. You know, a lot of the segments that I produced for Ask Wendy got pickup on like the Shade Room, like, oh, can you believe what happened on the Wendy show? Somebody said such and such and such. And I'm like, wow, that's my work. Like, that feels so good, you know?
No, that's dope.
So being on the tour and being the only producer out there, it was hard. It was hard, you know, because I didn't have like all the sources that I have here, you know, in New York, like in the office. So I had to make it happen in like a short amount of time and just like hear people's stories within like about 30 seconds each, and then just embellish and then like give it to them to like memorize it and then put them on stage and then boom. You know, and it was great and it worked and Wendy loved it and it was so good. And I was just so happy to be a part of that.
No, that's dope. Like, no, real, thank you for sharing, because that's some exclusive, because, I mean, I don't know if anybody who's watching and listening that, you know, and then definitely watches Wendy, no, you know, everybody knows Ask Wendy. I mean, she wrote a whole book.
Yeah, she did. But that was when, that whole book though, I have to, you know, let everybody know, because if you're a Wendy fan, you know that she's been doing Ask Wendy forever. She was doing it like on her own, like on the radio show and everything. So that was just a part of who she is, you know, just doing it on the show. The talk show was just a little different because that involves like a producer being involved, because she obviously won't be out there to get the people. So that's where I come in, you know, but Wendy has always been great with like Ask Wendy. That's what people look forward to her for, advice, you know?
Exactly.
So I was
they know
just
that she's going
to be a part of it.
And she's going to be real in her answer. So they know that, you know, hey, let me ask Wendy. No, that's dope. And just being real, I must say, to do a lot of things, my motto is you judge a character by, or you judge a person's character, or one of the ways to judge a person's character is what they do for people that doesn't owe them anything, right? So stay with me here. Jazz, you work with and have a foundation, Polished Angels.
Aww.
That organization, it really brought me back to my college days, because I remember I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Shout out to my bros. But anyway, we went to nursing homes and we did some of those things. So without spilling the beans, and for our listeners who's watching, tell us about that foundation, Polished Angels, what it's about, because it's so dear to me, because I love that type of stuff.
Yeah, me too. And you just hit it right there, like by saying it's so good when you do something for someone who can't do anything for you. You know, like I think that is my purpose. And like overall, back to me loving people, I love to give to people. Like that really just shows my heart and shows my character and who I am, because I like to put a smile on people's faces. Like that is so important to me. So Polished Angels came about because I love seniors. Like I have a fascination with seniors because I think it goes back to my childhood. I wasn't raised, with my grandparents around. And I always kind of like secretly envied like my friends who had like their abuela or abuelo that they can see after school, and I always wish that, wow, I wish I had a grandma that I could go shopping with, or that I could go over and is going to cook me a meal. Like, my grandparents, they were around, but they weren't around as much, and they were Jehovah's Witness, and, there was a language barrier because they spoke Spanish and I'm not fluent in Spanish. So there were some things that kind of like, affected our relationship. But, when my grandmother was around, she was able to like, do the little things for me, but overall we didn't have the best relationship. So that's why I love seniors. And I think that Polished Angels for me, when I started, it was just like my way of having plenty of grandmothers and plenty of grandpas, that I could call my own. And I literally would have like I have friendships with these people, and I feel sad talking about it because due to the pandemic, I haven't been able to have an event, and I haven't done a Polished Angels event in a very long time. And it meant a lot to me because a lot of these seniors, they don't get visitors. They don't have people checking for them. And I feel bad because they have a lot of life in them, some of them, and it's just not right that they go day to day without seeing someone that's going to make them happy or do something to make them feel good. And so I feel like, well, I want to be able to be that person that they can look forward to every month at least, that's going to come and pamper them and give them like a gift and make them feel loved for however long I'm there for. And at least I know that, you know, I made a difference in their life. And that's what Polished Angels is all about. And I'm so thankful that God put me in the position to be able to like be there for these people. Yeah,
absolutely.
I love it.
It's super dope, and like you say, it doesn't cost a thing to just visit. We used to go, just to now elaborate a little bit. We used to go read the Bible to the seniors, paint their nails, play you know, bingo, and all sorts of things like that. And it's so unfortunate now in the pandemic, you know that we're in, you can't even visit, you know, your own relative, you know, so to volunteer, and for those that have their heart to want to do it, I know it's hurting, but it's really hurting for those that was visiting their mothers and fathers, or whoever in the, you know, in those centers, and not being able to. So it's really a crazy thing. And so, how are you surviving in this corona and this COVID? I know work was off for you guys, and then you went virtual, and now you're back in office. But outside of the work, but personally speaking, how are you?
Personally speaking, I have my ups and downs. That's the straight truth. And I was talking about that in my Prayer Works video on my Instagram page today, about not feeling like myself all the time. You know, I have my moments where I feel like empowered, and then I have my moments where I feel discouraged, and I feel like, oh gosh, like, am I fulfilling everything like I'm supposed to be fulfilling at this certain time of my life? You know, my birthday's approaching. I'm going to be 36 on election day. And I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I'm going to be 36. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where did this come from? Am I, you know, do I have enough for 36? Like, and I just feel like, did I accomplish enough by, you know, for 36? And I am sometimes hard on myself about that. Like, I wish I had this, I wish I had that, you know, like all those things that we do as humans. So this pandemic, for me, having the extra time has, you know, been a gift and a curse, because it's a gift because I've always been busy, like always out and about, and never really having time to just like be on my couch and not do nothing, you know? I would always try to schedule a day, like in my, you know, my schedule, where I could just be home one day and not go anywhere, you know? And now being able to do that every day, it's just like, oh, wow. Like,
right.
You know,
like, oh, this is me. Hey,
yeah, you know, like, yeah, like I've always enjoyed myself and being in my own company, but I've always been really hard on myself. So having this extra time, I'm a little bit more critical, you know, of certain things about me. And I think that's where I start to, like, you know, get discouraged. I, you know, start to overanalyze myself. But ultimately, this pandemic has definitely built my relationship, you know, with like my boyfriend. You know, we've gotten a lot closer because we've been spending more time together. And that has really been like the main person that I've seen the most during this. And it's so crazy because, you know, when we go to work, our coworkers are usually the people that we see the most in our life, because we're always at work, you know? So for now, not it being the opposite and just being my boyfriend that I see more than anyone, it's just like, oh my gosh, like,
like, so when did you get here?
Yeah, right. Like, wow, like we're really doing this. And
no,
so, you know, but it's good though, and it's something to look forward to. And I just like am so happy to have him, and like my mom, I get to, you know, go see her, and my siblings and my niece and my nephew, they make me feel so loved. So yeah, I just been spending more time with my family, I guess you can say. I've been coloring, which I never done before, but I have like a coloring book that I color in.
I was gonna say, all right, artist, you're an artist.
Yeah, I draw a little bit, so I actually have been dabbling with drawing again, but yeah, I think that's how I'm dealing with it, you know, watching TV. And I passed those phases of cooking. Like I was cooking a lot in the beginning, and
going to the grocery store.
I was cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
you guys call it over there.
Yeah, then I was getting those quarantine pounds, and I was just like, all right, now, hold up, we gotta do something about this, you know? No, gotta keep it tight and right. So I was just like, okay, well, let me go run. And I started running, and I made that like my workout regimen when I was running like every day. And so that was good because that helped me, like, you know, shed some of them quarantine pounds. So now I feel like I'm back to myself.
No, I saw you. I said, Jazz out there running, man. I definitely can't do it. A bunch of y'all on you know, people on, you know, social media, period. You see them running, and you just like, and I have a Fitbit. So people go like, do you exercise? Like, no, I like.
Oh my God, it was so encouraging to wear my Apple Watch because I always wanted to beat like my score from the previous day.
Okay. No, I rock with the Fitbit. I have the Apple Watch, but then people on the Apple Watch really rocking it out. The folks that's on here, they're not really walking a whole lot. So I'm feeling like a champion over here. I don't want to mess that up. I want to keep feeling like a champion.
You are.
But listen, I am. And for that, you know, a good segue again. So thinking about champions on each and every episode on the Finesse Media Podcast, we ask our finessers, who is yourself right here. Again, just as a recap, we bring on people that's finessing the game. So again, thank you, Yaz, for coming on the podcast. But again, you as a finesser, we ask all of our finessers that join the podcast, who's that finesser for you? So who is that person I usually ask that's finessing the game or that you call a finesser, and not necessarily somebody that you emulate or want to model after. And everyone has already given me like 17 answers when I say this, but if it's one person in your life, great. But if it's more than one person, who's that finesser for you though? Because you definitely
okay. I'm going to mention 3.
Okay.
Yeah, 3. Number 1, my mother, because that's my biggest role model. And I am like really proud of what she's been able to build and how she has, you know, instilled so many great qualities in me. And I admire her, and I've always looked up to her work ethic. I admired the fact that when people respected her at her job, like whenever I would go to work with her, everybody knew her and respected her. And I felt like I wanted to, you know, be that same kind of person in my work environments. So I learned a lot of that from my mother, and she's just a hard worker overall and just very ambitious, you know, and she did a lot with the little that she had. And I, you know, would love to be half the woman that she is if I could, you know. And Kalana Barfield will be number 2. I always say that Kalana is freaking incredible. I look up to her. She's like this big stylist, and she is amazing. You know, she's a Black woman, and she has done a lot with her career, and she's constantly evolving. Every time I look on Kalana's page, she has a new project, at least like every 2 months. And so I look up to her in so many ways. I had the pleasure of being able to work with her a few times at the Wendy Show, because she's been an expert for a few of my fashion shows that I've produced. And every time I see her, I'm like, oh my God, I love you. You're amazing. I think you're so great. Thank you so much. Like, and then she's probably like, stop it. But I'm just like, I think she's so great. Like, I would love to be her friend if I could. She's like my friend in my head. Like, we're not friends like that, but you know, she knows me and she respects me in the same, but I just like kudos to Kalana. And then number 3 is my goal, my future goal. And I have to say that is the company God is Dope. The company God is Dope is huge, and I love what they are doing. And even Spiritual Word, I would say as well, which is another page that I follow. They have made a big impact in the community with putting out, you know, T-shirts that represent God. And this business is faith-based. It's very big. There are a lot of people that have shirts out there that are big influence. Yeah. And I just, you know, admire the amount of orders that they get, because they'll post about it and I'm just like, oh my God, I get excited about 5 orders. They get like 500 in like an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how is that even possible? You know, like, and I'm just like, wow, that is goals. Like, I pray to God that one day Spicy Christians will grow so big that you will see it in so many places and know that it's a Spicy Christian shirt, and that my sales will pop off where I'm getting like 50 to 100 orders like every hour, every 2, whatever, you know. So that's something that I definitely like am hoping for. And like, yeah. I look up to them.
That's dope. Well, 3 finesses, that's not bad. And they all definitely somebody in the replay I got to check out because they can't roll them back off to you. But in the replay, definitely will follow them. And thank you for sharing those finesses. And you're right. But you're always shipping things away. I did some Finesse Media promo shirts. And Jazz, I probably went to the post office maybe 5 times, and I'm like, I can't do this. How the hell is Jazz doing this? And you're out here like, bam, bam, bam. And I'm in no way of, like I say, selling product. And I tell people this in every social media. People watching me, following me, Facebook, you know this. It's no secret. But thank you for supporting, and buying the shirt. But I couldn't do it. I mean, definitely, I saw that you doing this and you shipping out. Yeah, you saying 5.
And first of all, let me tell you, it was a struggle being on the line.
The line is crazy. And then
so I was like in the heat in the summertime. I was on the line for sometimes an hour with my packages. I was like, but it's all good though. It's gonna work. It's good. All worth it. It's all worth it. It's gonna work. It's gonna, work out for my good.
But ain't nobody tell you. Ain't nobody tell you yes to have all this good product though. I'm telling you. So following this is that shirt for the fall. I'm ready for it. The God always come through. I'll be back on the site getting some things because it's good product. So make sure you check out the website spicychristians.com and check out everything Jazz got going on.
Yes.
And I thank you so much for coming on the Finesse Media Podcast. But let people know how they can continue to follow you and support, get this product, on their backs and get ready for the fall.
First of all, I want to say thank you to you, Ken, and I just want to shine the light on you because I love what you're doing. I've heard a lot about you as well, and I believe we have a mutual friend, Cece, and she always speaks very highly of you. Soul, South in the City, I think she goes by on Instagram, Soul in the City. Sienna?
Oh, yeah. Cece, shout out to Cece.
Yeah, Cece, yeah. So she always speaks very highly of you, and that's my girl. And I am just really proud of what you're doing, especially as a Black man, a young Black man. You have such a beautiful spirit. And I see a lot of big things happening in your future. You make people feel good. And that's great. It's not easy to be interviewed, but your spirit makes people feel comfortable. And I just want to pray and bless God, ask God to continue to bless you and, anoint you and just pour into you. And I'm just grateful for you having me here. So thank you for that. You definitely spoke about everything that I do. So thanks for, giving me the opportunity to tell your folks all about it. And as far as where you can follow me at Jazzolina on Instagram, that's my personal page. And then my merchandise page is at spicy_Christians. And then it's at Polished Angels for my nonprofit. So yeah, when you follow me on any of those pages, you'll see a list of all the others. But yes, I would love to connect with anybody that wants to know more about God and wants to, get some Spicy Christians merch.
Absolutely, Jazz. Thank you so much. I appreciate the words. And we'll continue to support you, continue to finesse the game, and come back, man.
Thank you. I'm so happy we did this. Yes.
Listen, need you to come back and keep telling me how you doing. Keep on coming back, man. So Jazz, y'all make sure y'all check her out on all of our social media platforms that she mentioned to you. She's a little bit frozen for people who can see me, but I think Jazz is still good and she's in the building. But y'all, thank you so much. It's been another episode of Finesse Media Podcast, Season 3. Yes, I love you, sis, man. Keep shining, queen.
I love you. You too. Bye, King.
All right, I'll see you, sis. Have a good night.
You too.
This has been another edition of the Finesse Media Podcast. Join us again next week for the latest news from HBCUs. Special guest